या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्याम jagarti sayami. Countless times I would have spoken on these words, and yet every time there is a fresh silence. Those who identify too strongly with their physicality become slaves to their physicality. You need to go places where there might be no roads at all. You'd be the first one to tread that path. There is no path. Your movement is the path. But your vehicle is not designed to go there. What will you do? The smart answer is sell this one off and buy an off-roader, right? But the body is the vehicle. How do you sell it away and get a new one? Can you? The spiritual person is always at war, always challenging and always challenged. This is the third level at which the verse has to be understood. The level of body, the level of society, and at the level of being. Does this whole thing disappoint you or unnerve you or scare you? Being it is easier than wording it. It takes me a while to come to words. From something that flows in one's system, it has to become something that you let out to others. Almost like spilling blood. Yeah. या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्याम जागर्ति संयमी. Countless times I would have spoken on these words, and yet every time there is a fresh silence from which words must emerge. And the striking contrast in consciousness between the Sanyami, the Yogi, the Sthit Pragya, and the others, the general folk. That presents itself more clearly in the verse at hand than probably anywhere else. So, that which all beings call as night, therein the liberated one is awake, and yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha paschato mune. And when all beings are awake, that is night to the Muni, seer. All these are used interchangeably. Muni, Sanyami, Rishi, Pandit, Yogi, Jnani. They all occur in this single document, the Bhagavad Gita, and they point towards the same. In fact, there is a reason why they all occur, because the common folk take them as different. So they are all brought together to emphasize that they mean the same. They point at the same thing. So Sanyami and Muni, these two have to be understood as the same awakened state of consciousness. Many layers of meanings here. It depends on what you want to draw out from me this night. First, the outermost, the physical layer. Those who identify too strongly with their physicality become slaves to their physicality. What they would call as daily physical discipline is mostly just submission to their animal self. So we understand that we have emerged from the jungle. We don't contest that. Understood and accepted. And in the jungle, all beings have their physical clocks inbuilt, embedded. So since aeons, birds have been sleeping at just the same time and waking up at the same time. No difference at all. You cannot change that. And there are other birds like owls who in turn will be up when the other birds are sleeping. But they too are following their physical, biological clock. The owl is not really rebelling against the sparrow or the parrot. The owl is as much a slave of its body clock as the sparrow is. Just that their clocks are set differently. You have IST here and somebody has GMT. And then somebody is in some other time zone. When you are asleep, they are awake. Is that rebellion? No. They are just doing what this ancient master has told them to do. Now, it is one thing realizing that this body is set to certain tunes, certain patterns. It is one thing to realize that. And it is another thing to blindly follow that pattern in the name of physical discipline. Hmm? As long as the patterns of the body are aligned to the needs of consciousness, those patterns can be followed. No issues. Right? But following those patterns won't take you anywhere, just as following their own patterns doesn't take the owl or the sparrow anywhere. The owl has been eating as per its physicality since long. And so has been the sparrow. And the owl has remained an owl, and the sparrow has remained an sparrow. Following one's physicality is all right, but it won't take you where you must reach as a human being. This statement does not apply to the owl or the sparrow because they don't have anywhere to reach. So they can coolly follow their physical ancient trails and just keep repeating the patterns. They're all right as they are. You're not all right as you are. Consider a vehicle. A normal city car meant for urban commuting, city traffic, city roads. So by design, by its physical design, it is meant to move on normal roads, normal city roads, right? But what if your heartfelt work, your priceless mission requires you to travel long distances off-road? And that's often the nature of important missions. They require you to go where there are no highways. You need to go where very few go. The road less traveled, as they say. At least there is a road. In the really important things in life, you need to go places where there might be no roads at all. You'd be the first one to tread that path. There is no path. Your movement is the path. But your vehicle is not designed to go there. What will you do? The smart answer is sell this one off and buy an off-roader. Right? But the body is the vehicle. How do you sell it away and get a new one? Can you? To some extent, yes, you can prepare your body, acclimatize it, train it. But still, you can't alter its fundamental design, or can you? You can't. So you have a small hatchback. A little small town girl. Not a giant, imposing, monstrous SUV. That's who you are, right? A little hatchback. So will you say that you will stick to the road because you are not designed to go off the road? Will you say that? Huh? In the name of following the body, will you keep quoting your physical limitations? See, I am designed to move only on paved roads. And you are asking me to measure the fields. I can't do that. You'll have to do that because that's love. That's the fundamental need of your existence. That's what you're born for. That doesn't mean that without any rhyme or reason, you'll start steering your car off the road. That would be stupidity. If a road is available, and if the road takes you towards your destination, you'll stick to the road. But that in life is not often the case. The places you need to go are usually not places any roads ever reach. So you'll have to take your little hatchback, not just into the potholes, but into real holes. And the design, the chassis, the suspension, everything will squeak and yell and rebel and say, no, don't bring me here. Is this what I am designed for? No, you're not designed for that. But destiny must override design. You're not designed for that, but you're destined for that. And when we are talking of physical limitations, that includes, you would understand, mental limitations as well, because the mind is the body. The mind is designed to operate in a certain way. But you cannot hide behind that ancient design. Tough luck. But what do we do? Using a very weak and ordinary car, from an ancient design, we have to navigate today's paths and tough challenges. What do we do? Please understand your condition. If you have a car whose design dates back to the 1970s, what do you call it? Take this tin pot away. What is this doing in the parking? Throw it in the museum. Anybody knows some scrap dealer? That's how you refer to a car that was designed in the 1970s or even 1980s or even 1990s. Right? And how old is your design? How old is your design exactly? How did the woman of 2000 years back look? Ancient design. Not ancient, like prehistoric. Look at this fellow here. He's a dinosaur. With that old and outdated a design, we have taken birth. And with that design, we are supposed to navigate the challenges of this moment. Right? And that is the reason you'll have to frequently challenge the limits of your design. There is no option, please see. Your design is older than ancient. Think of the caveman, that's you. You're a jungle with the necktie. Hmm? Imagine the caveman or the cave woman. Visualize they are sitting here, bare, naked. And then you press a button. And then suddenly there are these specs and the clothes and the pen and the shaved faces. Otherwise, we are that. And your consciousness is saying, no, 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 I don't want to stick to the past. I don't even want to limit myself to the present. That's where I want to go. The way you are designed, your design is not capable of traversing even on land. But that little thing inside you wants to fly all the way up to the sky. You are fit not even for land journeys. You are fit not even for land journeys, but something within you wants to go all the way up. Now, to what extent can you honor the limits of your design? What do? I have only two hands. The day has only 24 hours. I'm a mere girl, I get emotional. To what extent do you want to honor that? Please tell me. You can't. We said tough luck. Too bad that we have to fight today's war, existential war, with outdated weaponry. But what do we do? That's what you have been given. And that's the deal. what do? You tell your organism, your physicality, your mentality, your emotionality. You speak to them and tell them, listen, I don't intend to deliberately hurt you or offend you, but I will definitely transcend you. If I hurt you or offend you, then you become important, right? If you're aiming to hurt someone, that fellow has become important to you. Has he not? He is your object now. You're aiming at that person. But when you are transcending something, that thing has become unimportant to you. That is the difference. You're not offending, you are transcending. The body has to be transcended. And that doesn't mean that you have to deliberately take shots at the body. That simply means that the body is there and I am there and I have to do my job. As long as the body cooperates, wonderful. But even if it does not, it will be dragged into the war. Please cooperate. And as long as you cooperate, all is hunky-dory between us. Us means me and the body. As long as you cooperate, all well. But even if you do not cooperate, I am not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. Preserving you is of no avail if you cannot take me to my destination. Destroying you is also of no avail. So to the extent you cooperate, I do not want to destroy you. In fact, I want to keep you in fine fettle. But regularly, frequently, there will be clashes. Just drop the notion that the spiritual person lives a life of peace, radiant, apparent peace, and a deep, mystical, infectious smile. Drop that. The spiritual person is always at war. Always challenging and always challenged. And the most fundamental aspect of the challenge is here. One of the last verses of chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. The body does not seek liberation. The body is designed to be for so long, eat, sleep, self-preserve, proliferate, and expire. That's what the body is. It's a wave. Like everything else in Prakriti, it's a wave. It comes, rises, falls, you're out. That's what the body is. Does a wave seek liberation of any kind? No. Rises and falls. Therefore, you'll have to frequently find yourself not agreeing to the body. You'll frequently find yourself not agreeing to your instincts, intuitions, emotions. There would be a contest, a tug of war. And you'll find you need to drag the body. Just as even an unwilling vehicle is often dragged to the destination. Has that happened with you? The vehicle is stuttering and sputtering, all kinds of noises, and it's heating up, and smoke and resistance. You tell the vehicle, you're not, I'm so sorry. You're not designed for the climb. You are a little city moped, and I am pulling you atop the Himalayas. I'm so sorry. No sorry. No sorry. Little hatchback or little moped. Your destiny is the sky. You better fly. And there is nobody going to come to airlift you. Are you getting it? So we said there are several layers of revelations here, and we are talking of the basic physical layer. You are not with the body, you are not against the body. Your job is to transcend the body. There will be moments when the body can be allowed to do its own thing. Fine, do what you want to do. And that doesn't mean you are with the body. That doesn't mean that you are supporting the body. No. You are indifferent. And in those intervals of indifference, the body can do its own thing. Go ahead. As long as what you do does not hinder my mission, does not obstruct my path, I'm not going to bully you or stop you or whatever. Do whatever you have to do. Why should I be concerned? So in allowing the body to do its thing, it's not as if you are body identified or you are doing the body a favor. And there'll be times when the body will be complaining, shrieking, resisting, and yet you will find that you are dragging it along. That doesn't mean that you are against the body. You are with your love. You aren't against the body. Please understand. Had it been possible, you would have simply given up the body. The body, however, is a necessary companion. What do I do? The body and the ego are born together, aren't they? And the body has its own conditioning, its own programming, whereas the ego has just one objective: liberation, dissolution, the sky. So these two are forcibly welded together. They are compulsory companions, but their objectives don't align. And too bad, the ego cannot give up on the body and rise all the way to the sky.
That's a design feature, a design flaw, you might say. The ego wants to go to the sky, but that can be done only as long as there is the body, because there is nothing called a bodiless ego. So these two will be together, but they can never really be harmoniously together. The body will have to be ruled. The body will have to be dictated, commanded. A democratic, peaceful coexistence with equal rights is impossible. And if it is made to happen, then you, that is consciousness, will suffer. If the body and the self have equal rights, then it is the body that will rule. And that is all right in the case of an animal. That is all right with a beast. That is not all right with you. Understanding this? There is just too much clutter. And noise in the name of spirituality, claiming that the spiritual person is the one who leads a disciplined life, follows a regular daily schedule, and such things. Nothing can be further from the truth. Owls and sparrows follow the sun and the moon. Even the sunflower follows the sun. Even the dead solar panels are activated by the sun. Consciousness won't follow the sun or the stars or the moons. They are just physical objects. Consciousness is indifferent to them. Consciousness is after something metaphysical, transcendental. If consciousness starts following the sun or the moon or the seas or the seasons, then it is just condemning itself to physical patterns. Seasons change and winds start blowing or stop blowing, right? That's the characteristic of dead matter, like air. In a particular season, this is what you are supposed to do. Don't you hear that from so-called religious people? Because he is religious, so in such season he did this, another season he does the. That's what the physical elements do. There is a relative movement between the earth and the moon. And the waters of the seas respond to that. High tides, low tides, and all kinds of things. Why? Because water is just water, material. To all these material things, the sun, the moon, the galaxy, the star, and their movement, the temperature, the time of sunrise, to all these things, all the inanimate, dead, material objects in the universe respond. Consciousness is oblivious of these things. What does consciousness have to do with the interactions of material objects? Nothing at all. It despises actually. You keep playing your games. What do I have to do with that? Do you understand where Sri Krishna is coming from? Yes, the body does want food at regular intervals, and it is fine. If, while fully honoring your challenges, you can still have food at regular time, then it's wonderful. But just because you are someone who eats at regular intervals, in regular quantities, you do not become spiritual. That is what even a horse or a donkey can do. Just set them free, and you will find that they are eating regular quantities at regular intervals. But just too much emphasis is placed on these things in the name of even spirituality. Eat this much and at this time and facing that particular direction, and in this particular season don't eat this thing. Sometimes, yes, there is some scientific rationale also. But all that is again for the body. You must procure such and such kind of grains and then cook food in such and such way, and that will keep the body healthy. Sir, if procuring those grains and cooking food in that particular way takes away 2 hours of my daily precious time, I won't do that. Even if that is good for the body, I'll still not do that. Let the body keep crying. My time is more important. But you say, you're feeding special recipes even to gods. And if it is to be fed to the gods, it takes an even longer time to cook. We don't want to deliberately offend the body. Please understand. But the nature of truthful living is such that a dissonance will inevitably arise. You will find that the ways of the body, the demands of the body, the patterns of the body just cannot align with an honest life. And I'm saying this with full responsibility. If you are living honestly and say, I still manage to take 9 hours of sleep every day and 2 hours of exercise, and then 1 hour before lunch I do not move, and then 1 after our lunch I do not work, and same thing for dinner, and I take 4 small meals a day, then please tell me, where is the time for real work in life? Also, you cannot just go and quickly be done with your bath. So slowly you enter the bathroom, right foot first. And then you cannot allow the shower on you with full force, abruptly. Gently let the first few drops trickle on your head. Tup, tup, tup. And that is great for your peace. To hell with such peace. And all these things that are available in the market, you should not use them. Instead, you should cook home shampoo. And how do you cook home shampoo? You take these 45 kinds of ingredients and then slowly boil them over 8 months to come to a thick distillate. And then you expose it to the moon so that some dewdrops condense on it. And then you apply it to your hair. And you will, I don't know what. Get a head like Anuj's. Maybe this formula does have some physical benefit. But in honest living, you cannot have the time for these things. It will be very difficult to find the warrior with silky, smooth, jet black hair. Cute hatchbacks can be found parked safe and secure and cleaned and polished. How about main battle tanks? Your little hatchback, a small scratch, a minor dent, and you rush to the service station. Tanks? Who counts the dents? Who bothers to polish a tank? That's where the example stops. Because in reality, life demands you to use your hatchback as a tank. Hurts. To use your little 20cc moped as a 1500cc intercontinental cruiser. That's what you have to do. That's where the magic of living lies. I'm reminded of Havaldar Abdul Hamid, 1965 war. There were these tanks that the Pakistanis had from the US, pattern tanks, modern tanks. And this young boy, I don't know, 20, 21, 22, some age. All he had was some artillery mounted on a humble jeep. You know, jeep? The Willys kinds of World War II vintage. And there is a gun mounted on the jeep. And there was this wide formation of tanks in front of this boy. And he said, I may not have firepower, but I have one thing, agility. I don't remember how many tanks he blasted away before dying. But that's your predicament as well. The challenges are like pattern tanks, brand new, powerful tanks with scary firepower. And all that you have is a vintage Jeep with a gun retrofitted. A jeep is a jeep. A jeep doesn't come with a gun, or does it? Can you imagine? It's a two-seater jeep, and behind they have mounted a gun. And this boy, who deserves, and only such persons deserve to be called men. This boy who's one of the rare men we can see around. That's how life is. Do you understand? Or could he say, what do I do? This is a mere jeep. Yes, it does have a gun, but it is not designed to face an entire pack of tanks. He didn't say that. He just kept shooting at them. Shoot, scoot. Shoot, scoot. 8 tanks. Also because his gun was small. Nowhere comparable to the range that the tanks had. So he had to be very close to the tanks. The tanks could shoot at long range, but this boy had to be really near to the tanks. Can you imagine? Little jeep, these huge tanks, and he's running amok, shooting at 1, 2, 3, 4, and the tanks are trying to fire at him, and he's here. He got done with 8 of them before they could finally get hold of him. That's what you have to do. See, you will die anyway. Or is somebody immortal here? But before that, let's have some fun. No? Or do you want your little jeep to remain parked in your little garage? No scars, no scratches. Yeah. The second layer at which we can understand this thing is social. And that's probably why there are 2 sentences in the verse. Not necessarily that they correspond to the physical and social layers, but that which the world considers as lit, the awakened ones see as dark. That which is success for the world in social terms is abject failure for the awakened one. We have now come to the second layer of meaning, the social layer. The first layer was physical, now the social layer. Where the world celebrates with a lot of laughter and lights, the awakened one only sees death, darkness, and gloom. At least no reason for any pompous celebration. As if the physical tribulation was not sufficient. There is this social trauma too that you have to face. Overcome the body, negate its demands, and then also negate the society. Are you getting it? Simple. It's almost like, first of all, the body is crying, get me a woman. So you have to somehow keep it cool on that front. And then mama is also crying, bring home a woman. You have to manage that front as well. Those are the two fronts here. The awakened one will be found constantly at war with the body and then with the society. So I repeat, this image you are nurturing of the peaceful ascetic is a scandal. All the images of the awakened ones are nothing short of blasphemous. I'm using that word with care. Because you are deliberately misrepresenting. You're not depicting their struggles in the images you make. You are portraying as if it was all very cool, chill, and relaxed for them. It never was. The common householder has a much more peaceful life than any awakened person ever had. You remember that conversation in that college, your college? Awakening begins with suffering. Type this along with your college name and you will get the talk. Awakening begins with suffering. Sukhiya sab khaye. The sages have known it all along. To awaken is to invite trouble. But then that's the nature of love. It is not just unafraid of trouble. It actively invites trouble. But you want to portray the awakened one like this. He is so happy and is now blessing the world. No, he's not like this. He's like this. Come. Knowing fully well that these are pattern tanks. Knowing fully well the outcome of the whole engagement. He knows. It's a foregone conclusion. But still there is this mischievous smile and a little wink. And he's saying, and the ones in the tanks do not know why they are feeling ashamed of their beings. They don't understand. They say there is this little fly in front of us. We'll just swat it away. But something within them is utterly ashamed at this moment. You get this. Would you call out the lies? Next time you read the descriptions or the life stories, the biographies of liberated people, holy people, don't trust all that. That's a huge lie. The biggest scandal. You don't even know suffering. They are the ones who have really suffered. But you want to display as if They were all the time marinating in bliss. And you find their statues and paintings. And if they are shown smiling or greatly restful, you must know it's a big lie. No, obviously, they were not squirming. But they were not smiling either. What you'll find on their face is steely defiance. That's what would really characterize the one who loves liberation. Chilled out defiance. Looking at that monstrous tank in the eye, not smiling. Just defying. And this defiance is not very different from transcendence. I don't care for you. I don't acknowledge your might. You might be big to the world, to me you are not. That is the defiance I am talking of. You are nobody to me. You get this. The Bhagavad Gita is raging fire. Not some document. To heal your wounds. The kind of random wounds we have, we better be left to lick them on our own. The Bhagavad Gita is an invitation to take wounds. It is not to protect you from misfortune or suffering. It is to invite you into real suffering for the first time in your life. You get this. That which the several beings take as the awakened state. The really awakened one calls that as night. When do you say you are awake? When your eyes are open, right? And when your eyes are open, all that you see is a dualistic illusion. And you think that you are in the waking state, right? Jagrati. But Jagrati and Swapnavastha are not fundamentally different. Both are dualistic. In both of them, the experiencer is the ego. Just that in one the eyes are open, in the other the eyes are not, but the I tendency is present in both the states. So those who have known have said there are two kinds of sleep. One with eyes closed, the other with eyes open. The world never really awakens. It constantly sleeps. Sometimes with eyes closed, at other times with eyes open. but it flatters itself by lying to itself. When it opens its eyes, just these physical things, when it opens its eyes, it pampers itself by declaring that it is now awake. No, you are never awake, sir. You're just blinking all the time. Yeah, the time period of a particular blink might be 8 hours. Sleeping, this is not awakening. Awakening is when you see through this entire game. Awakening is not about seeing objects, it is about seeing through. Do you ever see through? And you can never see through an object. Whenever seeing through happens, it cuts across the object and the subject, not just the object. Seeing through means seeing through the subject-object duality. Realizing what is really going on and to whom. So you wake up, you open your eyes, and then you say you have made some kind of a windfall in the stock markets today, and so you celebrate. And the realized one looks at you and says, when will this person ever wake up? Ever. A while back, he was mourning in his sleep because he dreamt of a big loss. And right now, he is celebrating because he is dreaming of a big gain. Just that this appears real to him. But then when you are dreaming even, the dream appears real, or does it not? When you are dreaming, is the dream not real to you? Similarly, when you are dreaming with your eyes open, this dream appears real to you. You say, oh, you know, that's my house, and see how well lit it is. And lights of so many colors. The awakened one looks at you and says, no, you don't understand. You are still asleep. This is the third level at which the verse has to be understood. The level of body, the level of society, and at the level of being. Does this whole thing disappoint you or unnerve you or scare you? That the crux of the entire discussion is that we are existential fools who have to all the time fight first of all the body and then the society. That's our destiny. Very encouraging. Congratulations. The thing that has not been said is that strength is not a reserve, it is a response. You don't have pre-existing reserves of strength in your being. But when you accept the right challenges, then strength shows up as the response. It is only in the response to the right challenges that you will ever fathom your strength. Otherwise, you will remain oblivious of it. Strength is not even something lying latent or dormant within you. No. It is something that actually takes birth when you decide to take up the right challenge. Your logic is, if I have the strength, then I'll take up the challenge, right? That's now how it works. If you will take up the challenge, then you will have the strength. That's how it works. I will work when the body will cooperate. No. The body will cooperate when you work. And these are not absolutes. We are talking of physical things there, and nothing physical is absolute. So obviously there will be limits to the measures of the body, to the extension of the body, to the stretch of the body. There would be limits. Your job is to keep challenging those limits. And remember, when by body we have meant both the outer and the inner body. Not just your muscles, but also your thoughts, emotions, ambitions, desires. You will never be fully ready. You will never even be partially ready. You will have to leap into a deep abyss, a bottomless one, blindfolded. Cheers. And some say you fly. But I'm a little girl from a little town, riding my little scooty. Why are you pushing me this way? I don't even have a booty. I am a hatchback.
Namaste, Acharya Ji.
Hmm.
Acharya Ji, there are a few questions from the session that have come on a similar theme. So I'd like to collate and basically ask them. The question is related to what you mentioned in the session, which is that to awaken is to invite trouble. So they're basically asking that, in the Gita sessions, we also learn that this process of awakening must be reasonless and motiveless. But the trouble is that because the path feels extremely arduous, so we are always tempted to look for results. So essentially, what they're asking is that how to curb this tendency of always looking for results and be reasonless and motiveless. That is the essence of the question.
What results do you want?
So I would think something that is not arduous. So they're looking for something that is not arduous and challenging, because when something is arduous or challenging, one feels probably stressed or fearful or whatever those things come. So what they're looking for as a result is something that is not that.
First of all, do you want to be free or not? You are talking about what you experience in the process. You're not talking about the result really. The path is arduous, I understand. There is stress in the process, that I understand. But you're talking about the path and the process. You're not talking about the result. What is the result? If the result is freedom, then anything is bearable. But if the result is in the nature of fulfillment of some desire, then no desire is so big that you will tolerate too much for it. You will succumb.
The problem lies in imagining freedom to be something like the fulfillment of desire.
Can you bring the concerned persons directly? I want to understand what they are thinking. If they
It could probably take time. Maybe.
Why must it take time? They can be directly brought on. Or are they dressing up or something?
Yes, they were not very ready to come on the screen. I've accumulated a question of two. I'll try to get one of them on this after the next question.
One day I'll pay them back in their currency. I'll say, I am not very eager to come to the screen. Since 2 hours I'm here, and the fellow says, I can't show up on the screen.
We can move on to the next question.
Yes. It's not that I have answers to give. I want to understand the questions. And I want the questioner to understand the question. Not that there is a great answer that can be offered to some question. A question by nature is an illusion, right? A question by its definition is a contradiction. If no contradiction exists, from where will the question come? And contradictions don't really exist. So every question is an illusion. How do you answer an illusion? You can only enable the questioner to see through his own illusion, which is in the shape of a question. In truth, can there be questions? So questions are there only in falseness, which means no question really is founded on the truth. In the middle of the question, there is a cleavage. and the two parts will never reconcile with each other. But the fellow wants to do exactly that, and therefore he says, now there is a problem. This is not matching with this. So kindly, no, sir, your question is founded not on truth but on an assumption. And the answer is to help you see your own assumption. And then the question dissolves.